Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 11?
10.
10? Are you sure? How do I always get this wrong? One day I'm going
No,
to
I
get
am
more.
not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's 11. It's got to be 11. Maybe it's 10. Weren't we all just in Jira that has the names in it? Have you heard of Bobby yet? Has Bobby taken over your social media yet?
Which
Episode 10.
Bobby?
Bobby. So there's a new podcaster. She's doing she does these very, very monotone, very, very direct, very just almost borderline rude level interviews where she's just talking to people and she's like, "So why are you Jira admin?" What's the straightest face?
Because
She's
it
like,
pays bills.
and how many bills do you have? Really right up in your face Jira questions. She blew up because she got Drake. She got to invite Drake or interview Drake, and then she interviewed Mark Cuban recently. But it's so weird. Like her style is very interesting. We might have to do something funny. We might have to bring back the voice. The voice might have to make a comeback.
Maybe.
Maybe. Hey Bob, Jira amigos. Oh, okay. So we have dropped the ball, but we are gonna be pay attention on LinkedIn. We are gonna be dropping in some images tomorrow, so that you all can vote on the Jira amigos logo. So we're gonna give you all a nice little logo. Mrs. Alex, aka Lena, has been working on some logos, and we're gonna open it up again just to let people vote. And if you want to submit your own fan art, if you want to go and make your own, let us. We'll give you a few hours. Make something tonight, and tomorrow we'll be posting whatever entries we get. So if you're watching the replay here and you want to get us something, get us a picture, get us a PNG or a JPEG or something, and we'll include it. But we want to give you all a cool little identity of the Jira Amigos. So make sure you don't miss out on that opportunity. Second, I am not at my usual space. I'm at my parents' house, so you're gonna see that the background looks a little bit more different. And the camera is definitely not my 4K camera. So, long story short, drove to Orange County. I thought I had an hour to set up. Turns out that I drastically underestimated the amount of people that live in Orange County versus where I live, and there was so much traffic. So much traffic. Yeah, but yeah, Alex does have a change of studio. I'm at my old I'm at my house where I grew up. So I'm visiting my parents. Jason and Claire Tom, hello, how are you? We got fans. Okay, so today we have a couple of really cool topics to talk about. We're excited like always, and we are just gonna jump into it now. We did scramble a little bit. I was traveling back between where I live in Orange County, and Rodney was doing migration, so we're gonna be scrambling a little bit. But life is not.
This is the Jira
What is
life.
yeah? What is the Jira life if not flying by the seat of your pants all day long and feel like you're drowning? Y'all ever, Rodney? Have you ever read uh, Bob Iger's book, The Ride of a Lifetime?
No.
Do you know who Bob
No, I have
Iger is?
not.
Do you know who Bob Iger is?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, right? So he's got a book that he published in 2019, and his book was really interesting because he's in the bathroom with the CEO of the ABC or whatever he was working at the time, and he was stressing out. He was a very mandating, really really stressful type of CEO. And they were in the restaurant one time, and they're both together, and the CEO asked him how you doing, and he's like, well, sometimes I feel like I can barely keep my head above water. And the CEO looks at him point blank and goes, sounds like you need a bigger snorkel. So, what is the Jira life if not us with giant snorkels to stay alive with all the requests and all the different things that come at us all day long from people that just need help in Jira? All right.
Yep.
Have a guess.
Just a reminder for the Jira Amigos, drop your questions to chat. If we see something catches our interest, we will stop the show where we are and answer questions. So absolutely get those in.
So today's title, Life is a Box of Chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I feel like that's going to be so true today.
So, hilarious thing about that quote in that movie. It's supposed to be taking place in Birmingham, Alabama, but it was not filmed in Alabama. Guess where that bench actually is?
Atlanta somewhere?
No, Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. I
Yeah.
spent a little bit of time on Google Maps in Savannah, Georgia this week. looking around. I had a friend who went there for vacation, so she was telling us about areas she went to, and I'm like, I had never seen Savannah, Georgia.
It's where me and my wife got married, so
Really?
been there. Yeah,
Nice. I've never crossed the Mississippi. Maybe one day.
you should.
I
It's
should.
humid over here.
I know. It's humid here too. We have a hurricane that's been like tearing up Hawaii, and we're getting the outer ring.
Yep.
All right. So today's first topic is Jira product discovery. Jira product discovery.
Indeed.
I like it. What do you think about it? Have you used it yet?
I have been using it. I've been using it to develop some of the topics for the blogs, and yeah, it seems, I mean, really geared in a way that Advanced Roadmap Maps never was for product managers.
Yeah, I have a client who's
One of
leveraging
the
it.
organizations I worked for had a very similar setup to what they did, and it worked well for them for the entire time I was managing that Jira instance. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, sad news about it.
Well, I wouldn't
It
say it's
is.
bad news, but Dave, where's Dave? Dave's got to be in the chat here. Dave, I know is a huge advocate of Jira product discovery. I like it a lot. I wouldn't say that it's
Mhm.
sad news, right? But it's exiting beta, and if you haven't tried Jira product discovery, then what I'm gonna tell you is not going to really impact you all that much. But you should definitely go check it out. But if you've been using Jira product discovery since the beta days, well, the beta is coming to an end here very, very soon. And we wanted to talk about it because I actually just had to sit through it. I believe it was either this morning or yesterday where I was like, oh, I was trying to show my wife what Jira product discovery is. And I got hit with that message of like, you're still in the beta, you got to get out of the beta or bad things will happen. And I wanted to
Mhm.
talk about Atlassian's implementation of this change because I've never participated in something like this before, and I didn't like it, and so I wanted to talk about it.
Mhm.
But I don't. What are your thoughts first?
So just to clarify, it is coming out of beta. It is going to be a paid Jira version, just like Jira Software and Jira Service Desk is,
But there's a
which
free,
means
but there's still a
there
free
is a
tier.
free tier. There is a free tier, but some of the features are going behind the paywall, much as you expect to see on some of the higher tiers of
But I
the
only
other
saw
two.
one feature, and I don't really care for it. And that
Mhm.
was like access management.
That being said,
I guess
I
I'm
really
okay.
like. I'm seeing Atlassian does a lot more. Jira Work Management is undergoing the same thing where since it was in beta and all through its current release life, it's been freed if you paid for Jira Software or Jira Service Desk. And as
Yeah,
we all know, as they announced at the DevOps thing in Berlin, that's
we
not going to
get
be the case anymore.
we're getting a premium version of Jira Work Management.
Yeah.
So are they getting rid of? They're going to leave the free though, right? They're just going to add more features to the paid.
I want to say yes, but I don't remember anything specifically mentioning that.
So we'll have to circle back to Jira Work Management, but let's on the topic of Jira Product Discovery, right? So again, just to kind of recap, if you've been in the beta is going away, and so you're gonna have to either go to the free version, which is good for 3 people, or to the paid version, which is I think it's gonna be like $10 or something like that. I forgot what it was. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, so Jira Work Management Premium here is that does definitely have approvals, which I'm really excited about. I really like that this is happening because I always send all my teams to Jira Service Management for approvals if they want that to have that kind of a workflow. But
That's
now
really the
you're
only place you had it up till now.
and it's really beneficial, right? I really like
Mhm.
it. I guess there is no contributor license in JWM, right?
No, no, there's not.
So my bet or my advice or recommendation to people is going to be if you want to do the approvals, I would still stick with Jira Service Management. Even though it's more expensive, it's $20 a license or whatever Jira Work Management Premium is going to cost. But the reason I would go that route is because the approvers can be free, right? You don't have to pay
Yeah,
a license for your approvers.
approver could just be someone using the front end portal, which as that you don't have to pay a license for. Um,
So Bob, help us
Yeah.
Google this. Are approvals in Jira Premium gonna need to have a premium license, or can they just be any user inside of your Jira? Because that right there is gonna be the game changer, right? Because then I don't have to send someone to JSM and pay $20 for a standard license, but if they can pay like half the price, $10 for Jira Premium, or sorry, Jira Work Management Premium, that might be a better deal. But only if the approvers are still free.
Work management seems to be licensed the same way Jira software is. So I'd be surprised if they didn't require a license for that.
But you know what's not licensed the same way? Jira Product Discovery, because you get
Mm.
unlimited contributor license or collaborator. Is it collaborator? I forget which one's the free one, which is the paid one. But there's a free version and then there's a paid version of a user.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob, help us out here with the premium thing because I am very interested in that. The other thing, and this is totally off topic, right? But still, since we've gone down this Jira Work Management route, is what are your thoughts on the forms? What are your thoughts on forms in general?
I think it was a good idea initially. I just think Jira Service Desk or Jira Service Management does it better.
Yeah, so I just tried doing a Jira Work Management. Granted, I'm on the free version, right? But I haven't used JWM Premium, right? But on the free version, I tried to do a form, and I'm like, okay, cool. But then on the service management, it's like, whoa, it's like really
Mm-hmm.
more powerful, right? So yet again, another like I'm still gonna, even though they're really pushing that you can do forms and they're really pushing that you can do approvers. I'm still gonna be pushing service management until that functionality from service management comes a little bit more towards work management.
The one feature that I think JWM really beats out any other version of Jira on
Enlighten me, please.
is the list view.
Oh my god.
Because you know those people who you will never get off Excel.
Yeah, but you can see the list by clicking on issues on in your regular Jira project.
Yeah, but it's a feature that's born out of JWM, and it's one of those things that was specifically put in to get to those people who
You know
don't want
what?
to let go of their Excel.
Yeah, you know what a lot of people also like too is the calendar view.
Hmm.
That calendar view is pretty clutch because in Jira software you gotta like go get a calendar plugin or something like that. But I still remember walking over to the lady at the team conference in April, and I was like, "Why do you exist?" Because I don't understand why Jira Work Management exists. Because if you're gonna have to, like, if you up against Trello or JWM, like, where's Brittany in the chat, right? Like, you gotta go Trello, and work management is too handicapped to be a worthy competitor to Jira.
I don't think that ultimately is the goal. I think they want to keep people who are in Jira software, whatever, where they were. I just think they wanted something
So
better
I
than
asked
Jira
her.
Core.
Well, I asked her, right? I asked the lady, I was like, why do you exist? And her answer was like, because we're for non-technical people. We make Jira easier, right? It's not, you don't have to, because Jira software is confusing, right? Like, I'm not going to say that it's like the easiest tool in the world. But I told the lady, I'm like, but doesn't make sense because the folks that are, at least in my experience, right, from what I've observed is you're going to have your technical team, your software developers, right, your engineers that are kind of following the way of Agile or Safe if you're Bob, right? And and then she's like, well, we have other teams that aren't following Agile, and they just want to still be in Jira. So Jira Work Management, that's the product for them. But my argument to her was like, even if they're not technical, the companies across are trying to be agile, whether you're a technical team or not. So you're really handicapping yourself when you tell your team to go Jira Work Management. You lose all the agileness of Jira, but then you're still the most companies' missions are still to be agile. What do you think?
Your Scrum Master is showing.
My Scrum
Your
Master is
Scrum
showing.
is your Scrum Master is showing hard. Um, there are some teams that it'll never make sense for them to adopt Agile.
All right,
Customer
so then there's
support
Trello.
teams. And yes, Trello is perfectly acceptable. And I have pointed many a team saying, you don't really want Jira, you do want Trello. But that being said, some teams have a mandate. Everyone will be in Jira, but they don't need everything that goes with Jira software. And Service Desk definitely isn't a good fit.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know. I'm still trying to understand. Bob's calling me a snob, and I'm still trying to understand where does Jira Work Management fall under all this. Atlassian has shared with me. I don't know how public this is, but Atlassian has shared with me that they are like sprucing up work management with intents to take over some market share that they've been losing, right? And so, but I just haven't seen that functionality just yet. But maybe once that functionality comes out, maybe I'll start swinging towards the JWM side. Trello's fine, yeah, but Bob, the argument is Trello versus JWM. Which one takes the crown? Right now, I would never compare like Trello versus Jira Software because obviously night and
No,
day.
Jira Software wins that fight every day.
But when you're looking at JWM and Trello, it becomes a hard argument to go one way or the other. Other than the fact that what you just said, Ronnie, right, which is like, well, we want all of our users in the Jira brand.
And really, I think that's what it comes down to. You got those people who never wanted to be in Jira, never wanted to bother with that, but they have that mandate.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I hate top-down mandates. That is not the way to drive adoption on any Atlassian tools, but it happens.
Yep. So does Jira Work Management have Kanban features? I believe it has a board. You get
It
that.
has a board. It has
Has
I
a
call it
calendar, which I guess-
Kanban-esque,
Yeah,
but
it's
I wouldn't quite
Kanban-esque.
call it Kanban.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's the most basic version of a Kanban board you can find.
I mean, true, but at a certain point,
Can you add whip?
does sticky notes do better?
Can you add whip limits? I don't see that you can.
No, I don't think so.
There's no whip limits. There's no backlog, which I really, really like in Jira. In the Kanban projects, you can add still a backlog. But I don't know, man. I still think I sound like a JWM hater, man, but I don't know. Damien finally caught us live. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for commenting here. But we're glad you're here. Glad. Say hello to the rest of the chat here, and the rest of the chat. The Peanut Gallery, make Damien feel welcome here. Send your love that way. All right, but now let's just kind of wrap up this conversation on the product discovery, right? So the reason I wanted to bring it up is if you are in beta, you have to get off of beta. You have to go to your billing setting, and you're gonna have to either go free, which I believe is for 3 users, or paid, which is I believe like $10 or something like that. But the problem is they don't make it easy for you to go either route unless you go and add a bunch of groups and a bunch of product access and stuff. And I tried following through the instructions, and I was like, holy moly, man, I got so confused. It was like, you have to go create a group for your contributors. You have to go create a group for your collaborators. You have to then like go add product access to like your site admins and stuff. And then only once you do that, and they have like a pretty lengthy email or document, then you can go and like go to your billing settings and then change to either the free or the paid.
I mean, this is an argument I've been having with Atlassian for years. I'm like, look, this whole thing with having to migrate to cloud and all this would be a non-issue if you made migrations easier, if you made these changes easier for us to have to manage. And yes, there's a lot of technical reasons why it's hard, but this wouldn't be a discussion.
I don't know how hard it is though, because the number of times that I get spammed by Atlassian's in Atlassian's UI by Atlassian events, right? How hard is it for them to just push a group into your Jira? Oh boy, I hit a nerve over here. The Jira live stream is lit. Loving the energy. Why don't they just make you move to the free? Yeah, that was the other thing, right? It's like, okay, so if the beta ends, like what happens? Like, I feel like they should have just defaulted you to the free version, because that's what happens when you sign up for any of the other paid products, right? If you don't have a credit card on file, then you automatically get deferred down to the free version. So I'm kind of sad that they dropped the ball here, I think. And it's such a great product. I'm really, really liking product discovery. Man, we got people all over the place coming in. If anybody, by the way, if anybody wants to join us, the invitation is always open. So feel free to send Ronnie or I a LinkedIn DM here, and we would be more than happy. We can have 8 more people in here. So if y'all want, anybody else wants to jump in and kind of just not be chatting or typing away, hit us up on LinkedIn and we'll get you a link here and you can join us in vivo.
Yep.
And he's gonna catch us on a replay on 2x. So anyways, folks, so again, just key takeaway is Jira work management. The jury's still out. Jira product discovery, go check to see if you're in beta or not, because if you're not in beta, you got like 6 days, something like that, to get off of beta. So go make sure you follow. There's a link. They have some instructions. You got to go through the whole thing. I'm in Jira 14 hours a day and I got confused. I don't even know if I did it right. I kind of just closed my eyes and hope for the best. We'll find out in 6 days if my product discovery still works. But we'll see. I think they have the betas on the wrong part of AWS. I mean, it's eating their cost. What does that mean, Bob? I think they have the betas. Let's highlight this one. I think they have the betas on the wrong part of AWS. It's eating their cost. Oh, I think I kind of know what this means.
It means the betas are costing them too much, so they're ending all the betas.
But they just opened up the whiteboard beta, which is going to be a great transition to our next topic. Let's talk about whiteboards.
Oh, let's. So I know, Alex, you've had a chance to use whiteboards now. I saw your video on it.
Videos.
Videos, plural. I posted my article about it. I did wait to watch your videos till after I posted mine because just didn't want any. I wanted my opinion to be pure before I started consuming content on it. But it's solid.
Yeah, even Ravi had good words to say. I was like, holy moly.
And I don't recall the last time Ravi had good words to say about much of anything.
I know. So I was like, the moment I saw Ravi had a positive video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like this. You know that Latin has done something right at that point.
Yeah.
When they get very good constructive criticism there, and it's all positive. Yeah, whiteboards is the shiznits. That's gotta be on a t-shirt. At last, if you're watching, you gotta put that on a t-shirt. Yeah. So, what's your favorite feature so far? Like, walk us through. Like, how are you using it?
I'm honestly using it for network diagrams. Trying to get that into Confluence in a way because for those of you who don't know, I have a whole server rack in my office that I manage.
That
just
sometimes
because
may or may not work.
Sometimes it may or may not work. We're actually addressing that this weekend, so stay tuned. But yeah, I don't get enough IT in my day job, so I do IT as a hobby on top of the IT I do as a day job.
Yeah.
But just before, I'd always have to go to another tool like Dryo or Glyphy or someone else to do that and then import that into Confluence. Now I can just put that natively into Confluence.
But see, and I don't feel like I kind of feel like I'm obligated to say this mainly because I'm sponsored by Glyphy, but I don't feel like Whiteboards completely replaces Glyphy because I think the use case for Glyphy is still like they have a well-established library of everything.
Yeah. But, and actually, that was one of my comments on my review was like, yeah, a bigger library of icons would have been amazing.
It's still in beta, and I'm sure that they're going to come out with it later. But again, I don't. In my mind, I'm still going to Glyphy or Draw.io or Lucid Charts for more architecture things. My perception of it was like I wanted to just on the quickly capture conversations and link it to Jira.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the fact that I only have to create this in one place or capture the information in one place, and instantaneously I got the stuff in Jira, and we're going back and forth, so I don't have to. Because I'm a huge fan of like capturing like a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So I'm a big, huge fan of being able to draw or visualize the conversations I'm having with my team, and then any actions that are coming out of there, put them straight into Jira, right? And in my times before, I'd have to capture this image, beautiful image. Now I'm starting to sound like Donnie, right? Best image you'll ever seen in your life, and then go to Jira and redo the whole thing, and then kind of teeter totter between going to Jira to get the status, updating the status in the diagram. And so now
I love though that you said specifically draw, because that's another criticism I had is there's actually no freeform draw tool.
There's no pen support.
Yeah. And for most of us who use a mouse, hello, that's not a problem. But
Trackpad.
I've dealt with people who were graphical designers or artists of some scale who have a draw pad, and being able to draw natively on a Confluence document would have been amazing for them. And I think that is a real missed opportunity.
Yeah, but again, it's still beta. I think it's gonna get better over time. What
Mhm.
I'm more fearful though is like how is Atlassian going to package this up between what's on the free versus standard, which versus premium, right? And my conversation, and I know I mentioned this before, is about a month before the team conference, I published a video why Confluence Premium was not worth it, right? Like whatever you get for paying double the price, it's not worth it, right? And
Mhm.
then Atlassian pulled me aside and they're like, "What would make it worth it?" And I was like, "Well, whiteboards would be kind of cool." And this was before before the world even know about whiteboards. And so she was like, "You're gonna be genuinely excited." And tomorrow during the keynote, and sure enough, it comes out. So I'm almost thinking that they're gonna paywall the heck out of this thing. But I'm really hoping that they give
Yeah.
at least some sliver of free to the standard or free versions of Confluence, because that would be really
Let's
good.
let's keep the beta features in the free tier, and anything you add after that, that could go in premium. I think that's a good
Yeah.
compromise.
So it's interesting that you came straight to Glyphy or and like draw.io, right? Because when I first saw whiteboards on stage, those were, again, I still classify them on a different wave, radio wave, frequency. Help me, Ronnie. You're the English major. Different.
Who told you I was an English major?
You're the writer. You write for a living.
Doesn't
How
mean
many
I'm good
blog
at
posts?
it.
How many blog posts have you seen me publish? Exactly. Anyways, they're on a whole different thingy. Okay, I would classify them as separate, right? But my initial thought was like Miro's dead.
Miro is a big one. And that's a use case I actually see is retrospectives. I've done retrospectives in some of these tools like Miro where, yeah, we did it. We captured our thoughts. We have all these sticky notes everywhere. They're ready to be converted into Jira issues, but then someone has to manually go back and actually do that.
Right, but now they're Jira issues.
Yeah, you just right click, or click on them, click create issues, and it's done. And
And,
that one feature alone was like, okay, whatever this is worth, I'm paying it.
and the best part is like they still behave like a page in Confluence, so you can still have like your retrospectives and have one for every time that you have a new retrospective, so you
Mhm.
don't have to like overwrite Spectrum. See, my wife for the savior, right? So you don't have to like start all over or overwrite whatever information you have, and so you can have new pages that are whiteboard. So I'm really excited though, but again, I'm very fearful, and for at least Miro, and I can see like Atlassian investing a lot to like do a really good Miro killer and put that behind the premium. But this basic like drawing a square and a line and some stickies, and at least the Jira conversion, I really fingers crossed they keep that on the free side, because I also don't have paid Confluence, so I'd like to keep using it.
I just converted to paid Jira,
Really?
for some, for some setting I'm doing. So
Oh man, I have a paid Jira. I have a paid premium because I spent so much time in it. But I just don't. I don't. So thank you. First of all, another little tangent, right? Is yesterday I got a phone call from Atlassian, and they're like, "Content creator program. I don't have to be in a community leader anymore."
I
We're
wonder how
doing
that
yay.
happened.
What?
Yeah, they consulted me for phase two earlier this week, actually, Monday. And that was like my first comment. I'm like, okay, we've got some great creators out there that are not community leaders. Can we get them in on this program, please?
Please.
And I may have dropped some names.
Yeah, and so thank you for that though, because yeah, where's Andy? Andy, I no longer have to stress about answering 1,000 questions in 24 hours.
No, I still think you should do that.
I should have an answer-a-thon or something as a live stream. Actually, so on my main channel, right? I'm closing in on 9,000 subscribers here. And by the way, if you're all watching this and you haven't subscribed to the channel to the Jira Life, please make sure you take a second here to subscribe. We're at 258ish, right? I'm gonna blast every follower I have on LinkedIn this weekend. See if I can get that number to like 300 or 350. But anyways, on ApeTech, right, closing in on 9,000 subscribers. The last time I did a live stream, I was like at 1,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since I've done a live stream over there.
Are you saying you need some mods?
No, I'm saying we're gonna plan out that 10,000 subscriber day. I don't know if we're doing 24 hours of. Should I? I don't know if. Do you think if
you know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah, but how am I gonna ask? Like, I gotta go ask people. I gotta find people in every time zone, and then like, what incentive do they have to participate for an hour or two of their lives on a global phenomenon?
Just watch you be extremely tired. That is entertainment to me, but I may be slightly evil.
No, but to have extra like guests, right? Like to help me keep it going. I can't. I mean,
we saw this when Brittany did her 12-hour stream. There is no way she could have done it without the guests.
12 hours I feel is doable. I feel like I can do 12 hours. I feel like that's what I do all day.
Mm-hmm.
But 24 hours, man, I'm a sucker, man. I gotta sleep. Raffles for Atlassian merch. Yeah, Damien. So I might reach out to like maybe I can reach out to some of my sponsors and go, hey, can we raffle out some shirts and stuff like that? Give out some swag. But anyways, if you're not sure what the heck we're talking about, last week we're flirting with the idea of my main channel, ApeTech Tech Tutorials, is of quickly approaching 10,000 subscribers. We're at 8.5 something, almost 8.6. And I want to have like a big thing because I had like a big old party when we hit the 1,000, and here we are adding another 0. And it only feels right that we kind of celebrate in a pretty big way. And so we were flirting with the idea of having like this 24-hour live stream and people throughout the world, because we have friends that are in the UK and in Amsterdam and
you're not going to be bored when Chris is online.
Oh no, yeah, in India, right? So we got folks in Australia, obviously. So it'd be like we can keep it going for 24 hours, and we just like pass the baton, right? Andy can take over when it's on the East Coast, and then pass it on over to Ronnie for a little bit, and then I gotta know, I gotta figure out who's in the central time zone here, right? But anyways, there's enough people here where we're like, maybe we can pass the baton. But maybe I just go 24 hours, right? Maybe I just Red Bull it.
I mean, you can. I'm not allowed to have Red Bulls anymore.
Oh, I haven't drank a Red Bull since one time my heart almost came out of my chest during finals week in college. So I drank a Red Bull. I drank 2, and I thought I was gonna die. I thought that was it. I thought that was the end.
I think my doctor has officially limited me down to 2 cups of coffee at most in a day.
In a day, dude, I don't even drink coffee. So
I wish I could say that. Really wish I could.
All right. So, any last final thoughts on whiteboards? Anything that you want to bring up that's exciting or fun or interesting to you?
I mean, I still want to hear how people are using it. So, yeah, in the comments, if you're using whiteboards, let us know what you've done with it. You're on mute.
I'm really curious. Am I still in my back? I'm really curious to see how people are using it, because I have switching microphones here again. I messed with the cable and I unplugged it. I used it from making the YouTube videos, right? But I'm a team of 1, and so as a single player, like, whiteboards aren't where it's at, man. We got my wife over here who's going to use it for our son's schoolwork, so that'll be interesting to see too, right? Different use cases outside of, again, tech, right? Outside of what it was intended for, and just kind of have like, there's so many templates. There's some really cool templates that you can utilize.
Okay, I'm just going to call it right now. Have you ever seen the old April Fool's Jira Jr.?
No.
I've got a video.
I think you sent it to me once. No, yeah, you sent it to me one time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what that sounds like to me.
We should start a Jira for kids. These kids gotta be more business oriented. It should be our goal that every graduating student in the United States of America knows how to use Jira before they go to college. Hour of code, hour of Jira. We'll have to start an office hours where we do literally hour of Jira. every week or every month. Every kid across the country does Jira. I was actually gonna go try to teach it. Jira was beneficial to have like in college.
And Alex is having technical issues. I can see at much this point, college kids absolutely getting some benefit because we've all who's been through college had those group projects that just always seem to go off the rails and never properly managed.
Yeah. So maybe like I gotta see the age demographics for my videos, right? But it'd be interesting to create. I'm not okay. So for my defense, I am not at home, which is why I'm in a mobile studio, Bob. Okay. And as much as I've said, you know what, I'm just gonna invest in just creating a studio at my parents' house because I spend so much time here. Anyways, like I just because my laptop's over here. That's like not. I'm using my mom's Mac. So yes, and then my light is like in a bag somewhere that I'm gonna record my videos tomorrow morning. So I did bring the 4K and I brought everything so I can record high quality videos for the channel, but the Jira Life didn't get. I only had like 3 minutes to prepare, so I wasn't able to set up everything. So sorry, Bob, I let you down. I've seen people teach Kanban for kids for execution. Yeah, I think this would be an interesting thing. I don't know how much traction there would be, but there would definitely be interesting to teach more younger generation, like just the simple and the basics of Jira, because it helps with like homework, it helps out with chores, it helps out with just just organizing your life, and even like small business owners, right? Like I've been flirting with. Have I told you about my idea about Mr. Beast and Jira?
You have not, but you definitely have my interest, sir.
So Mr. Beast did a talk back in like January or December with Lex Friedman. Have you heard of Lex Friedman? He's the AI guy that he's like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
really scary. He interviews like with a really deep voice too. Scares the crap out of me, but super smart. He's like a Harvard guy, right? And so he interviewed Mr. Beast again about almost a year ago now, and allowance based Scrum. So Bob, I give my son $1 for every video. So every video that y'all watch on the Jira Live, that's not the live videos, but all the recorded stuff, that's the clips and the shorts, those are all being produced by my 11-year-old. And he gets paid $1 for every minute of video that he creates. So make sure you all go share some love and watch the videos that he makes, because these are all being made by an 11-year-old, and we're just trying to teach him the skills. I'm like, you know what? Have some fun, learn some stuff, and go crazy and get your editing chops up there. Shore ops, that needs some patent pending there, Joel. You got to lock that up. Shore ops. But yeah, anyways, for everybody else, you guys should all be watching the clips, because my 11-year-old kid Spence, he actually did his first thumbnail too without my wife's influence or anything. So he's been taking ownership, Rodney. I don't know if you knew that, but we have like a little unpaid intern. Well, actually, I guess he is paid, right? Because I'm giving him $1 per minute of video.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have a little bit of an intern here for the summer where he's helping us out.
I mean, it works.
Make our clips. But where was I going with all this? Oh yeah, so Mr. Beast does this interview, right? And he's talking about how his time is diluted so heavily across his day, right? And so his day consists of working out, because he works out tremendously now. I don't know if you've seen, but Mr. Beast is like ripped. Have you seen him without a shirt on?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's jacked, right? Or at least he's getting there. And then he does obviously the main channel, and then he does Feastables. Those are like his three main things. But he's got so much more, right? He used to have, although I hear he's slowly killing Mr. Beast Burger. He has all the Mr. Beast Gaming, Mr. Beast Reacts, Mr. Beast Philanthropy, right? And then he has all of those in all the different languages, right? So he's managing a lot of different businesses. And Andy, child labor laws in California, this is we looked into that, and since it's our own company and it's a family-owned business, we are legally allowed to have our kids help out and pay them, and that we can set up like their 401ks and they're on payroll and everything. I don't know if you knew that. You can give like your kids to like $12,000 that are like tax-free. Now who's having audio problems? Did you leave me? I can't hear you now. Can you? Anybody hear me? Uh-oh. Obviously, you guys can hear me because Andy's telling me that we're gonna get into trouble with some child labor laws in California. But no, you're now just on mute.
Ah,
There
well,
we go.
that fixes it.
It helps if you don't hit the mute button. Anyway, super long story short, Mr. Beast deals with a lot of crap. He's got a lot of signals coming in all the time, and he doesn't have a system to organize. Right? He's 25 years old. He's never been in business, and he's like whatever whoever's the loudest and can get 10 seconds of my time. That's what decision gets made. But they don't use like Jira. So I was gonna make a video. I was like, how would Mr. Beast can use Jira to basically be efficient in his companies? And so I was gonna do something like that.
That's what we all do. So
Yeah. So I was gonna do like a very Mr. Beast type of video, and then blow him up on LinkedIn, right? Because Mr. Beast is barely growing on LinkedIn. He has like thousands of followers versus the millions he has everywhere else. So I was like, if I get enough people to tag him in it on LinkedIn, but that's kind of the idea. But it's been sitting on my whiteboard for the longest time. I was also gonna do a how lean manufacturing can help Mr. Beast roll out his Mr. Beast burgers. But since then, he has killed off Mr. Beast burgers because of the lawsuit he's got going on. So now I'm just going to title the video how Mr. Beast could have used lean to save his Mr. Beast burger business. We'll see how that goes. But I got to hit record on these videos one of these days. All right. So that aside, another topic we want to talk about today is some exciting changes that have come to Jira, to company managed projects. Have you seen Mr. Beast meets advanced roadmaps? There we go. That's what I'm talking about, Bob. You know where my head's at. Have you seen, raise of hands in the chat, have you all jumped into your Jira recently? And have you clicked on board settings or the three little ellipses on the right side of your board? Company managed. Has anybody clicked on those? Ronnie, have you clicked up there?
I just now did it.
And were you greeted with a nice purple banner that says welcome?
It says enhance my board, but considering it's really your board, I'm hesitant to click on it.
No, go ahead and click on it, right? So when you click on it, it will now allow for some really, really cool stuff that team managed projects have had for like forever and ever. And I want to talk about that because I am so excited that Atlassian has finally brought over inline backlog editing to company managed projects. Are you trying it out? You got to be trying it out. It's game changing. It's revolutionary. It's what it is.
I have turned it on and I am playing with it as we speak.
So what can you do? You can rename your summaries inline. So again, you don't have to click on the story, open it up on the side. So in the backlog, you can rename your titles of your tickets. You can add the epic. You can link to the epic, or you can change the epic that it's associated to, all inline. You can change the priority. You can reassign it to somebody. And oh my gosh, you can estimate it inline. You know how many times I've had to explain to people, click on the story and find the story points field, and they're like searching for that damn field. And this whole time I was like, can you just click on the little bubble? And now you can click on the bubble and put a number in there. And I think that right there is worth its weight in gold.
Yep.
And so, so all these really cool inline features that, again, they've been available in team managed projects, but thank you, Atlassian, for bringing them to company managed projects. I'm eternally grateful.
I mean, let's be honest. Half the reason I made the joke earlier with your work management about how many people we know who still insist you to Excel. Half the reason is they could just go to where they want to make an edit and make an edit. So that right there, bringing that kind of simplicity to the Jira backlog, may do more to battle Excel than anything Jira work management has ever done.
They should have named it the Excel killer. No, but I'm really excited. I've been so interestingly enough, I'm super excited for the feature, but I still find myself out of muscle memory going back to the edit when I'm reminding myself I don't have to do that anymore. I can save seconds.
On the certification exams, half the reason I find them so hard is most of what I do as an admin is muscle memory at this point. And when you're sitting down on the test, you're not on a Jira instance, so you don't have that muscle memory anymore. You actually have to know it.
So you just blindly. So when you're in Jira, you're just like passively just know where to click. But when
Yeah.
you're saying when you're taking the test, you're like, oh,
Oh,
where?
what
So
was
you
that
don't have
function again?
dreams. So you don't have dreams about Jira at night.
I plead the fifth.
In the chat, who else has dreams about Jira? Because I had like 2 this week. Anybody else dreaming about Jira at night? I want to know.
To be fair, it is a big part of my life, so I get why it does sometimes pop up, but it does sometimes pop
I
up.
was doing like full-blown configurations the other night. It's like, this is unhealthy. It's taking over my life. Bob's pleading the fifth as well. Anybody else want to plead the fifth here? If you're a
You don't
grad,
have to confess anything. You just plead the fifth, and it's your constitutional right.
all right, let's reword it. If you're not dreaming about Jira, are you even a Jira admin?
I will not answer that one either for the risk of alienating my audience.
I'm more pipeline dreams. I will play the fifth too. All right, the Moxie here. We have Lamek in the chat here too. So special hello to Lamek. By the way, I don't know. I stopped. I was fighting with. Well, I didn't fight. I was pitting Andy versus Rodney versus Chris on who will be the most viewed views, and you are still number one, Rodney. You're still number one
For now.
For now, you have over 300 views on your interview.
And I think that's leveled off a good while ago, if I remember right.
I mean, it has leveled up, but you were also number one like almost 100 days ago. But Lamech over here, he hit triple digits real quick. He's at 118 views. Bob, you're sitting at 91. Bob's sitting at 91. And Andy is just got stuck at 200 something, and Chris passed him at 20 something. Chris is sitting at a lovely 200 something. So yeah, you're still number one, but I think Lamech, if anybody's going to dethrone you at this point, it's either going to be Chris or Lamech. Wasn't a tear for being out of, yeah. I know, right? That's what I told Lamech. Like he was gone for like he stopped publishing for a while, and then all of a sudden he was like bam, 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 bam. I'm getting there, Ronnie. He's gonna beat you. You might want to promote your video, Ronnie. You might want to tell people.
I mean, I might want to, but as I said, the same with Chris. If Lamech was to beat me, I'd be fine with that.
You'd be fine with that?
I would be fine with that.
I will still say Lamech is the GOAT here. Although I will also tell you, so Lamech and I were trying to coordinate some stuff here, right? Because we're trying to see something with the Latin America, see what we can do there. And
it's a big audience.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be not to spoil anything for anyone, right? But Latin America's on our horizons, and we're definitely gonna see what we can do in that community there. Although my Spanish is horrible. We're gonna have to do the Jira life. We're gonna have to do the Jira life in Espanol.
Oh God, help! I think I'm good to ask for water. That's about it. And to say I don't speak Spanish.
Have you ever heard of aguas in Spanish? La vida de Jira. Look at that. Bob's like, oh.
Yeah, we might have to get Bob to guest host that one.
Next podcast is all in Spanish.
Where is Google Translate?
All right. But going back, we didn't quite finish those new features though, right? So we talked about the inline editing in the backlog. The board doesn't quite have the same functionality, although I could have sworn that they were going to do it, but then I couldn't find it. And I'm thinking, in typical Atlassian fashion, they enabled it, found a crap ton of bugs, and then stopped it. Because I could have sworn, like when I turned this on the first time, it was I can inline edit on the board too, but now I can't.
Wouldn't it surprise me?
But I don't know if I'm going crazy. It's really.
Well, I mean,
can you like?
You agreed to host a podcast with me, so I think sanity's long gone out the window.
Como se dice component? Joel, Joel, it's interesting that you bring this up, right? This right here, this comment that Joel just made is like my kryptonite. And I've been speaking with like so Lamech has been a tremendous support here, right? It's like my mom and I have sat down for over a year to record these videos in Spanish. And when this little problem right here, como se dice component, like that's what's been stopping me, right? Because I don't want to like half the video would be in English. Like, how do you say board in Spanish? How do you say backlog in Spanish? How do you say sprint in Spanish?
Well, I mean, that's a problem in almost every language. France, I want to say, has a whole government department dedicated to coming up with French words to
For
counter
actual,
English words.
that's why I like the Japanese, man. They have the katakana, which is basically English and Japanese.
Yeah.
Every language should do that. Componente. Okay, there we go. Leave it to the Portuguese speaking person to tell me how to speak Spanish.
No, I know looking at my stats, there is a hunger for Atlassian knowledge in Latin America.
Yeah, so should we convert your blog post into Spanish and Espanol?
These are already does.
Ooh, oh, do they?
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 of my posts that they have converted to
Okay.
Spanish and cross-posted on their blog.
Don't you have like 250 or something like that?
I don't think it's that many, is it?
You just did a number where you ran how many posts you had. How did
Now
you
you're
do
making me look it up because
that?
I
Well,
don't
I
pay
can tell
attention
you
to that week to week.
I have 462 videos, so we're gonna be doing this. I still think what we need to do is you need to convert all my 462 videos into 462 blog posts, and I need to go through all your blog posts and convert them onto videos, and then I'm done for 2023.
And then we just need to sit down and figure out what the overlap is because I guarantee we have some overlap somewhere.
Even if there is I just released a "What is Jira used for" video, and so much has elapsed in the last year and a half that things change. Like I'm actually gonna go back and redo all my first like 50 videos because Jira's UI has changed since 2 years ago. Right? They're no longer called roadmaps, they're a timeline, and the permissions have all changed and everything changed. Hey,
That's actually sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna ask you something important. Have you seen this mysterious email about site admins going away? 188 posts. See, there we go.
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
I have seen that email.
What is this? I haven't had a chance to look into it, but I'm fearful. I'm quivering.
I think they're trying to simplify because we spoke about this last week on the blog, how they have the Jira admin, site admin, org admin, all
Yeah.
this. I think they're trying to simplify some of that, but I haven't read into details because again, data center. I went, oh, that doesn't impact me right now. I'll study it later when I have a chance.
Yeah, you're like me. I just don't have time to study it, and I'm like, I am pretty sure I'm gonna have to redo half my videos once that goes away because I leverage and utilize that site admin so much. But I guess we'll find out. There was last thing though on that backlog though, right? There is a functionality. I'm trying to find it real quick. So there is some feature that they did enable on the board, not on the backlog, but on the board of these company managed projects. I'm just trying to remember what it was. And I'm going to enable it now. So, pre-made filter. So the new enhanced the new enhanced board view has what they're dubbing pre-selected what are they calling it? Man, I'm reading it. Pre-made filters. So I don't see any value in them yet, but they're bringing in some filters for you all. Again, I feel like they totally dropped the ball, man. We should have been able to do inline editing on the board itself as well, but instead all we're getting is pre-made filters.
We again, we don't know Atlassian's backlog. It could be coming, and they're just trying to get the bugs worked out first.
I don't know.
That's what I choose to believe.
That's what you choose to believe. I'm just hoping that they come out with it quickly because I really love this backlog view. And I always tell people, like in the backlog, right, you're in there doing all the planning, but most of the time you're in an active sprint.
Yeah.
Right. So
I mean, I'm just hoping we don't celebrate this bug's 21st birthday.
This bug's 21st birthday.
How many Atlassian bugs
Oh
are
my
now
god.
turning 21?
I don't know how many bugs. We should probably keep a tally of all the Atlassian bugs because I still think from last week, right? I'm still that UI is a bug that I'm not gonna drop it. Even Bob was kind of like Bob almost convinced about it.
I
Where's
mean,
the screen share one? Whoa, I totally killed you. There you go.
I don't.
All right. Well, we got a couple minutes left. I want to talk about a fail of the week, right? So just want to kind of be nice to your Jira admins, folks. This week was a really, really rough week for me as a Jira admin. And I want to say, I know I don't want to sound too much like a jerk, right? But y'all got to help out your Jira admins, right? Like I was on a call, somebody needed some Jira help. They're telling me that Jira is not working, and Jira doesn't lie. Like I am a big, huge proponent that Jira doesn't lie, unless you hit one of these 21-year bugs, right? And for the most part, though, I usually trust Jira, right? I usually trust Jira over whatever any user tells me. And my ask, my plea to you, right, is like when you're talking to the experts, right, like you gotta understand, like, man, you gotta like there's gotta be some sort of a Ronnie, help me out again with his English, man. There's got to be like a benchmark where it's like you do some due diligence, you do some investigation, right? Because this user called me up and he's like, Jira's not working, go fix it. And I'm like, what's the problem? And he's walking me through the problem and he's like, this button's disabled. And I'm like, what makes you think it's disabled? And he's like, the color of it. I'm like, but did you try clicking on it? He's like, no, it's disabled. I'm like, but did you try clicking on it? Like all you need to do is try, right? And then he's like, oh. And like that could have saved an email and so many in a whole meeting, right? And so as a fail of the week, right? It's more like don't be afraid of Jira. Try things, click on things, right? And then if you still can't figure it out, then call up the homie. What
I
story,
mean,
Bob? What story are we telling?
I think this is the story he wanted to hear.
Need
But I
the
mean,
who,
it's
what,
like,
when, where, why,
who's
how
the.
often.
Yeah. It's the people who don't go check if a door's unlocked and just assume it's locked. I mean, I have seen crowds of people standing outside a door because they thought it was locked. I go up there, I open it up, and just walk right in. They're like, "Oh,
It's like there's a story about apparently Henry Ford was hiring two interns and he took them both out to dinner and one of them got the job immediately and the other one didn't, and it all came down to the fact that they both ordered like a steak and one of them tasted the steak and then added salt and the other one just went straight for the salt shaker and added salt without even
I
checking to see.
I heard a different version of this story, but I've heard that same story."
Yeah,
This one was a Navy admiral in charge of the nuclear fleet,
okay.
and it was captains who lost their command or one of them lost their command because they didn't check if it needed salt before they salted it.
More of the story, man, you got to do a little bit of due diligence, just a little
Mhm.
bit. I'm not saying you got to end world hunger, you don't got to like know everything, but yeah, at least got to try something.
That being said, a grayed out button is universally accepted as a disabled button.
Well, with that
That is
being
some
said,
terrible UI design.
I'm going to give you 1 second to redeem yourself because that's all custom charts for Jira.
I'm not saying who, what, when. I'm just saying
Chris, if you're
it's
listening,
pretty.
change the color of your button so it's not gray.
I mean, every other button is blue. Come on, Atlassian.
Again, yeah. This was at a client UAT meeting and no one wanted to try out Jira even if they were guiding them. I don't know, man. Sometimes I lose hope in humanity. I do jokingly tell people that there will be a day in my life where I will never use a computer ever again. Like I'm just gonna find an island and just be disconnected because like when I'm like 100 years old, I just don't ever want to deal with Jira or internet or tech or Scrum or any of this stuff ever again. It is draining.
I wish I could say that, but as I said earlier, I wasn't getting enough IT, so I started doing IT as a hobby on top of my IT job.
Something is wrong with you. On that
Yes,
note,
yes.
on that note, thank you everybody for joining us for episode number 10 of the Jira Life. We're going to turn it over to Ronnie to get us through the end here. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please make sure you smash the subscribe button.
Yep. Thank you, everyone, for joining in with us. My friend here is Alex, the juggler of Jira's Ortiz. He can be found at youtube.com/@atech tutorials, all one word. This week, he actually shows us how to enable whiteboards for Confluence if you want to use that feature.
And tomorrow, I show you how to use the inline editing.
My name is Rodney. You can find my blog at thejiraguy.com. You can catch us recording this podcast live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Be sure to join the Jira Amigos in the Peanut Gallery. Ask questions, add comments. As you saw, we'll bring everyone in who has something to add. If you can't join us live, you can catch our podcasts on Apple iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you think this podcast does deserve a rating, please do so because it helps us out immensely. And remember, we didn't choose the Jira Life. The Jira Life chose us. Thank you.
I'm too slow, but